In his first major public address of this election year, Anthony Albanese is set to unveil a cash splash aiming to support tradies and fix the housing crisis. In a National Press Club address this afternoon, the Prime Minister will announce a $10,000 cash bonus for apprentices working on residential construction.
The government hopes the incentive will attract a much-needed workforce to tackle its target of building 1.2 million homes in 5 years. But a similar Green Jobs initiative last year failed to garner much interest. Well, for more on this story, we are joined again by our political reporter, Pablo Vinales from Parliament House. Pablo, good morning. What can we expect the Prime Minister to say in this speech today?
James, good morning. Well, a new pre-election pitch from the Prime Minister, and the message is trying to get young Australians on the tools with this scheme to encourage people to take up apprenticeships in the residential construction sector. $10,000 cash payments paid in 5 $2,000 instalments through the course of the apprenticeship. And the Prime Minister will frame this as a double win to set up the next generation of tradies, while also trying to address the chronic labour shortage. This new announcement comes alongside the government's existing goal of 1.2 million new homes by 2029. And the cost of this proposed policy is around $627 million, enough for around 60,000 new apprentices, and it would kick in from July this year. This does coincide with an existing Albanese government initiative for so-called green jobs, the same incentive being offered for apprentices in the renewable sector, though it hasn't attracted the take-up that as much as the government would have liked, with just around 2,200 people taking that up so far. Though the Deputy Prime Minister, Richard Marles, says he is confident it will grow the workforce.
It's really important that in achieving this goal, we've got the workforce there to do it. That is a key part of the building blocks of being able to construct these new homes. And this incentive, a $10,000 incentive for people working in the construction industry, is going to make a real difference in terms of encouraging people into what is a fantastic industry and what will have lifelong, well-paid jobs.
The Prime Minister will also announce an increase in the allowance offered to apprentices who move away from home. This will all be outlined in that major speech, the first one for the Prime Minister in this election year at the National Press Club this afternoon, centred around Labor's re-election theme of building Australia's future.
It's a big day in Canberra. Thank you for that, Pablo.
A warning, our next report might be distressing for some viewers. A teenager who killed 3 little girls and wounded 10 others at a Taylor Swift-themed dance event in the UK last year has been sentenced to life in prison with a non-parole period of 52 years. Europe Bureau Chief Mazoe Ford reports.
Because Axel Rudakabana was 17 years old, so not yet an adult at the time of committing this terrible atrocity, the judge sentencing him told the court that he could not impose a full life sentence with no chance of parole. Instead, though, he gave him a life sentence with a minimum term of 52 years. The judge said this was a case of mass murder of innocent, happy young girls that caused shock and revulsion around the nation. It was July last year in the summer school holidays here in the UK when 26 children had attended a Taylor Swift-themed dance party and bracelet-making workshop at a dance studio in the seaside town of Southport. Axel Rudakabana came in with a large kitchen knife. They didn't know what was going on, and as soon as they realised, they began screaming and running for their lives, with many of them stabbed multiple times. One of the teenage victims told the court, "You didn't look human, you looked possessed," as she tried to rush some of the children, some of whom were 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, out of the studio. And some CCTV pictures that were played to the court during the sentencing hearing today showed them running for their lives. Later at the police station, he told the officers there that he was glad children had died. And then when detectives searched his home, they found weapons, they found an Al-Qaeda manual, ricin, a toxic agent, as well as images of violence, including one linked to Australia, the very last thing he'd been searching on his tablet in the lead up to to the attack in the hour before was images of the stabbing of Bishop Mari Emanuel in Sydney back in April. Now, Rutabagan's attack and the online speculation over it afterwards about his identity and motive prompted nationwide riots here. This week, it's also emerged that he was known to authorities, that he had a violent history and that he'd been referred to an anti-extremism program 3 times. The Prime Minister here, Sir Keir Starmer, has ordered a public inquiry. There'll be lots of questions the families have, but for now, after a very long and difficult day in court, they're focused on supporting each other.
That's Zoe Ford reporting there from London. Well, let's get some more news now. And a second man is due to face court today over an attempt to set a synagogue on fire in Newtown in Sydney. During his arrest, the 37-year-old man was tasered by police at a hotel in Darling Harbour and was treated by paramedics before being taken into custody. It follows the arrest of another man in relation to the same attack, which saw anti-Semitic graffiti spray-painted on the building earlier this month.
Rural Queensland is grappling with what some have described as a feral pig plague. The University of Southern Queensland is collaborating with a national feral pig hunting group to estimate current numbers after finding an estimated 1 million pigs were killed by hunters last year. Leaders in the cattle industry say it's having devastating effects for agriculture and the risk of disease could end up affecting every Australian consumer.
And the Oscar nominations are in, and Australian Guy Pearce is on the list for Best Supporting Actor in the post-war epic The Brutalist, which has also been nominated for Best Picture. Spanish-language musical Emilia Pérez has landed a whopping 13 nominations for the 97th Academy Awards. They also include a nod for Best Picture alongside 9 other films, including the Bob Dylan biopic The Complete Unknown, body horror The Substance, and the box office smash Wicked. The winners will be announced at the Oscars ceremony, where else but Hollywood, in March.
I'm already looking forward to it.